In the distance, Sandton. It's called the richest square mile in Africa. And in front, Alexandra, one of South Africa's poorest neighborhoods. The people of both will vote on Wednesday, but that's where the similarity ends. In Sandton, the heart of the South African economy, the centrist and liberal Democratic Alliance will dominate. In Alex, well, it's more complicated. So we're driving through the streets of Alexandra Township. As you can see, it's pretty densely packed and it's pretty poor. It's the lives of people like these that the ANC swore it would change for the better after 1994. But its record has been mixed. And we've come here to try and find out whether people have lost faith in their politicians.
They are all corrupted. That's what I can say.
That pretty much sums up the view of many here. But if they vote at all, it will likely be for Cyril Ramaphosa's African National Congress, the steady ship, or for the radical far left, Julius Malema and his economic freedom fighters.
You know what, for now we are not sure of which party can we vote because all of them, we are not sure about them. I think they are corrupt.
It would be wrong to say nothing has improved. The economy has tripled in size since 1994. The black middle class has multiplied. But there's a sense now that things are moving backwards. Jacob Zuma, president for 9 years. Under Zuma, unemployment also rose sharply and is now officially at 27%, but unofficially probably much higher.
So we need to go back to basics and be a country where we have manufacturing, agriculture and mining as the main drivers of growth and also the biggest sectors.
Agriculture and mining, South Africa's potential, but also its lightning rod. Malema's EFF has a simple solution: nationalize all land and mines and effectively rent it back to operators.
He's charismatic, he's incredibly smart. He appeals to the part of society that everybody else is ignoring.
The EFF got 6% in the 2014 elections, and it could double that. The Democratic Alliance wants to stamp out corruption and make it easier to do business. But these are populist times, and some say its centrist message is getting a little lost in the noise. Cyril Ramaphosa will be happy with 58% or more in the elections. If Ramaphosa gets a strong mandate from the people, it will strengthen him. If not, his enemies could try to force him out of the party. It would be sunset on his presidency, and some say sunset too on the South African economy. Ben said, TRT World, Johannesburg, South Africa.
And Ben joins us now from Johannesburg. Hi, Ben. As your story mentioned, there are some differences in economic policies between the parties competing in these elections. Is there one party's economic agenda that sticks out in your view, that's resonating with the people that you've met?
Well, it depends how you look at it. In one respect, the vast majority of South Africans, I think, Oscar, would support President Cyril Ramaphosa's economic policy, which is very much pro-business, in favour of making it easier for investors to invest in the country, to reform the economy in the sense of perhaps lightening up some labour legislation, taking red tape away from businesses trying to set up in the country. But if you look at the party and the leader which is making the most noise, that would be Julius Malema and the EFF. And that is, I think, his radical transformation agenda, seizing banks, seizing land, seizing mines, etc., nationalising them, is speaking to increasing numbers of desperate South Africans. He's not going to win the election, but if he doubles his vote, as some surveys say he will, then that will send a message to the ruling ANC that that's the way people are starting to think, and that they might indeed be pushed leftwards and away from President Ramaphosa's reform agenda towards something more radical, not quite the EFF, but something that investors in this country and business in this country will not necessarily like too much.
Interesting. Cyril Ramaphosa, before becoming leader, was a successful businessman in his own right. Do his credentials there bolster his economic agenda when he is travelling the country spruiking them?
Yes, certainly it does. He's seen across the country as a man who understands how a modern economy should work. As you say, he came from the business environment. He speaks a language which business here understands. And I think if it was up to him, you would see quite more sort of centrist pro-business policies coming out of his party. But of course, he doesn't control the debate within his party. So he's going to have to try, if he's going to be successful when he most likely wins this election, if he's going to be successful in reforming this economy, he's going to have some hard conversations with the people within his party, particularly those aligned with the Unionists and the old South African Communist Party.
Yes.
So yes, he's seen as a safe pair of hands with the economy. The more he gets on Wednesday's election, the more likely I think both local and international business will see it as a positive result.
And stamping out corruption is obviously a perennial election issue in South Africa. What is Cyril Ramaphosa proposing in that arena that's different to the others?
Well, he's done a couple of things. He has appointed a new head of the prosecuting authority, somebody who is seen as very impartial, very much a person that's likely to get stuff done. And then there's the tax authority, which many say was abused by Zuma and his allies, both within the ruling party and his business allies outside the party. There's a new head there, somebody seen as very competent as well. So the tax authorities and the prosecuting authorities, the reformation of those going forward are going to be very important. He's made a good start there. But he has enemies in the party, people who are allied to Jacob Zuma, people who have been who have got patronage from the former president, and they fear being swept up in an anti-corruption drive, and they fear perhaps even going to jail. So there are people within his own party, within the ANC, that don't want to see Cyril Ramaphosa succeed in his reform drive, and quite frankly, they wouldn't mind if they could somehow push him out of the party post-election.
And not long now until polls open in South Africa. Ben Said, thank you so much for that update.